Today for my demonstration speech, I'll be doing how to make homemade salsa. My audience will be my 2 cousins and my grandma. Alright, you guys are good to go. Now that I know that works. You just fart? You? Oh. Oh, Granny, don't forget your phone. Peace out, have fun at work. Brooke, sit down. You gotta watch this. Huh? You have to do it like 3 different people are doing it, so it sounds good. Alright, bye-bye. Good bitches. My toes are cold. Okay. Sit down. Get to it. I'm going to show you how to make some salsa. I'm going to do it in the speech form. So to make homemade salsa, you're going to need a jalapeno, an onion, garlic, tomatoes, cumin, salt, and cilantro. So to begin with, I'm going to cut up the tomatoes. We're going to pulse them through the processor just so it gets a nice thin feeling where you can put it on your chip and eat it. Go ahead and throw that in there. So depending on how you like your salsa, depends on how long you process it for. If you like it more watery, you would obviously go longer, whereas if you like it chunky, it wouldn't be as long as of a pulse. So once you get done pulsing it to the type that you like, you want to sit there and pour it into a bowl, connect the processor back up, and do the process over again. So I have more tomatoes that I'm going to go ahead and throw in there. With these tomatoes, I'm going to throw in the jalapeno and the garlic, just so they kind of get blended all together and gives it a little bit of flavor. So today we're going to use a whole jalapeno because we like our food spicy. If you don't like it as spicy, you might want to use a half a jalapeno. Most people don't use a whole jalapeno, but normally if you want to make it less spicy, the jalapeno is what you want to focus on. You want to chop each thing into small pieces so that it has a little bit more room in the processor and it has time to process and it's not overpowering. So when you're getting the garlic, there's always a peel on the garlic. It's like a skin that protects it. So when you want to do that, you want to make sure you take off all of the peel and cut off each end of the garlic. chop the garlic into pieces as well. Sometimes halves is better, and then making it into smaller pieces that way. Got one more tomato that I'm going to go ahead and throw in there. But the whole purpose of this speech is to show people that making homemade salsa isn't as hard. It's quick, it's easy, and it's a lot cheaper than buying a few ounces in the store. Okay. So once all of that's in there, all you have left really is the onion to process and then the cilantro. So we like our salsa a little bit waterier because I do not like tomatoes and my cousin doesn't like tomatoes either. So making it watery lets us be able to dip our chips into it, and we'll be able to eat a lot more than having chunks of it. Okay, so now I have the onion and then the fresh cilantro. I'm going to go ahead and cut that up really quick. With the onion, depending on how many tomatoes you use, depends on if you used a whole onion or not. So we used about 6 tomatoes, and with the 6 tomatoes, I'm going to use probably a little bit more than half of an onion, just because it gives it the flavor and it kind of brings all the juices together. Also, when you're thinking about doing the jalapeno, you want to make sure you take out the seeds just so that you're having the whole vegetable rather than the seeds in there, and so you're not eating seeds while you're eating your salsa. Okay, so we have the fresh cilantro. There's no really thing that you need to do with it. You just have to tear off the leaves and kind of chop them up into small, fine pieces, and then the processor will do the rest. It will kind of blend all of the vegetables together, give it a little bit of flavor, so that it's not just onions and tomatoes that you're tasting. So you don't need a whole lot of leaves, you just need a few, probably a small handful. So if you don't have fresh cilantro as well, you can use jar cilantro or canned cilantro. It works the same. Just pour a little bit of the leaves in there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and mix that. So with the onions, they're not going to be as juicy or watery as the tomatoes are, just because they don't have that much juice in them. They're more of a thicker vegetable or item that you're going to be using. So they're going to be a little bit more chunkier. They're not going to be too chunky, but they're going to actually have more density to them compared to the tomatoes. Alright, so when you get the onions and the tomatoes all together in the bowl, you're going to mix it. You're going to look at what you have. And then you're going to add the salt and cumin into the bowl. For the salt, you're going to kind of want to sprinkle it back and forth just so you know that you have the whole surface covered and that it is not a little bit that you're using. So you're just going to grab the salt, you're going to shake it back and forth, I'd say twice across the bowl. Okay, so the cumin is dependent on how much you have, like the rest of everything. You're just going to sprinkle some on top. So I'd say about four decent sprinkles. And then you're going to go ahead and mix it all up. And once you mix it, you're going to have to taste throughout and make sure that you have everything in here and it tastes okay. It's just not too bland, not too spicy. So once you mix it, you're going to go ahead and taste it. Chase, do you want to taste that? Grab those chips. Alright. So now that that's all mixed up, we're going to have my cousin Chase taste it, see what he thinks about it, see what else I need to add. Sometimes depending on what you have in there, if you have too much tomatoes, you might need more onion, more garlic, more salt. Go ahead and grab one and put it in there. You want to just tell me what you taste more of and what you taste less of. Do you taste everything as a blend? Yeah, so everything's blended. So salsa at home is pretty easy. It's pretty good. It's healthy for you, and it's not going to be as time consuming as what everyone thinks. So thank you for listening to my speech. Thank you.